I've been watching booktubers for like 7 years, but have I listened to any of them? Apparently not. There are so many popular authors and books that I haven't read yet, y'all. Like, I'm honestly embarrassed to be making this video and calling myself out to all of you. I'm just gonna jump right into it because this list is very long. Please wait until the end to yell at me so you can compile a full list of every grievance that you have. I'm gonna start with authors that I have literally never read a single book by. First up, we have Maggie Stiefvater. I don't know how, considering how old the Shiver series is. I've had over 10 years to read one of her books and it's just never happened. I don't even know if I'd like the Shiver series, but I love the covers so much. They're so beautiful, and I would read them just for that. And of course, The Raven Boys, which I think has more popularity on BookTube, and which I think I would like a lot. So I don't know why I've never read it. I don't know. That's really gonna be my explanation for pretty much everything on this list, and I already feel bad about it, so don't even come for me. The next author is Adam Silvera. I get so upset about not having enough LGBT content in my life, but I literally only have myself to blame because it's out there. I could. I know damn well that all of Adam Silvera's books are gay and people love them. So why haven't I done it? I don't know. What's even more ironic is that I did a mock bookish newsletter for a design class that I took during college, and I featured him in it. I featured Adam Silvera in this mock newsletter, and I have yet to pick up a single book by him. I am so mad at myself. If I had to pick one book by Adam Silvera that I definitely want to read, it's probably They Both Die at the End, because I think the premise sounds really cool, and it sounds like it'll have a really tragic ending, and I am all about sobbing. But speaking of LGBT content, the third author is Becky Albertelli. I think I've seen the movie based off of Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, but I've never read any of her books. In all fairness, all of her books do seem to be more contemporary, and contemporary just isn't the genre that I reach for most of the time. But I do at least want to read Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda and maybe What If It's Us. Next up, we have Tahereh Mafi. Similar feelings as I had with the Shiver series. I feel like the Shatter Me series is older than the internet. Obviously that's an exaggeration, but that's how old I feel like they are, and I just never got around to it. Even though I actively followed so many people on Twitter who were major fans of the Shatter Me series. I don't know if I'm interested in that series, but I am interested in A Very Large Expanse of Sea and the Furthermore series. Although that's more middle grade, I think, so it's not high on my list. The covers though. Next up is Marie Lu, but I at least own one of her books now, so this is a step ahead of the others. I hauled Legend in a recent video, so baby steps. Obviously because I own it now, I'm definitely gonna read Legend, but I'm way more interested in her Warcrossed series. I've always thought that series would suit me, but I've just never bought it, so I've never read it. Most of the books that I read are used, and it's just harder to find YA books for cheap, although it's easier now that I'm next to a used bookstore. And now for some honorable mentions. These are a few authors where I have at least read one of their books, but probably have only read that one. At the top of this list is Sarah J. Maas. I have read Throne of Glass, but honestly, I hated it. It wasn't my cup of tea, but I have been thinking about rereading it, or at least reading some of her other series. Some of my favorite booktubers, particularly Brittany the Bibliophile and Mika, rave about Sarah J. Maas all the time, and I must be missing something. Maybe it just gets better with time. I don't know. Next up is Laini Taylor. I did read Daughter of Smoke and Bone back in high school, but I never even finished the series, which is a little odd because I remember liking the first book, so I don't know why I didn't continue. I definitely think I would like Strange the Dreamer. I just need to get the books. And the final honorable mention is Leigh Bardugo. Here, at least, I did read a full series. I did read the Grisha series, and I enjoyed it well enough. It's not my favorite series in the whole world, but I enjoyed it and I did like the world. I haven't read King of Scars, I haven't read Six of Crows, and I haven't read Ninth House. I am interested in all of those, but particularly Ninth House. I'm just tired of my own shit, y'all. I'm just tired of myself. I don't know why I haven't read any of these authors. I just don't know how statistically I don't know. There are so many authors that could be on this list, y'all, but I only chose a few that I think have the most extensive and oldest backlist, because at this point, it's just impressive that I've managed to avoid them for so long. It feels like it shouldn't statistically be possible considering how many books I read in a year. Now on to the books. Fantasy tends to be my favorite genre, so most of the books that I'm going to be mentioning are fantasy books that I'm really interested in reading. Those are going to be first, and then I have a couple romance novels, and then one contemporary at the end of the list. Now, where to start with fantasy? There are so many fantasy books that I haven't read, so I just decided to pick the few that I know are super popular in the booktube community and that I just haven't read. The first book slash series is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I don't feel too bad about this one because it only recently started getting hype on booktube, so I'm not that late to the party. This is the book on the list that I think I'm most interested in reading and that I'm most eager to get to. I'm not likely to get to it anytime soon though, because I do want to have a physical copy of this book. I want to be able to tap tab and annotate it, which I don't usually do for books that I'm reading for the first time, but considering all the things that I've heard about the Poppy War, I think tabbing this book will really add to the experience for me. Next up is the Scythe series by Neil Shusterman. I hate myself for this one, honestly, because I have wanted to read this since Scythe came out. The premise is interesting, but more importantly, the covers call to me. I need to read them and decide if I actually want physical copies before there's a cover change or something and then I can't get the covers that I actually like. Up next is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Honestly, Holly Black could have been on the author list because I don't think I've read any of her books at all. I don't know if I'm really interested in The Cruel Prince, but I've heard so many references to this book on BookTube and Book Twitter and just everywhere that at this point I just want to know what people are talking about. I'm just nosy, I guess. And the last fantasy book I'm going to mention is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I just feel bad. I just really want to read this book, y'all. That's it. Actually, no, that's not it. I do have a question for anyone who has read this. I know the series is called The Legacy of the Orishas, and I was wondering if this series references or pulls from the religion of Santeria. Maybe not necessarily Santeria, but rather its origins, because I'm pretty sure Santeria originates from Yoruba traditions in Nigeria, and I think Tomi Adeyemi is Nigerian. So I was wondering if it does pull from that. For those of you who don't know, Orishas are deities in the Santeria religion. If anyone knows the answers to this or can link me to an interview where Tomi Adeyemi talks about it, please comment below and let me know. I'm genuinely really interested to know the origin of the name. But anyway, on to romance. First up is Red, White, and Royal Blue. Again, I have no right to complain about the lack of LGBT content in my life because it's right there. It's literally all for the taking. I will say though, I probably will be reading this book in late November or December because it's on my Libby app and I've already put a hold on it, so I might be able to check this one off the list real soon. Next up is Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I feel like every booktuber I watch has talked about this book. Literally every booktuber, even those that don't read romance often, and there has to be something to it. I just don't have much else to say about that. Like, I'm so new to the romance genre that I don't know where to start. Just assume that if a book is romance, I haven't read it yet. If I listed out every popular romance book that I haven't read yet, we'd be here forever. But anyway, moving on to contemporary. The book at the top of this list is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It really sucks that I haven't read this book yet because I genuinely loved Daisy Jones and the Six so much. I want to read all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books and I haven't gotten to it yet. There are too many books to read in so little time, I don't know what to do. And you know what? I'm just gonna stop here. When it comes to popular books I haven't read, the list is endless. If I tried to list them all, we would be here all day. Literally all day. Please don't yell at me, y'all. None of you could possibly be more upset about any of this than I am. But if you have read any of these books and you have strong feelings about the fact that I haven't, please comment below. Maybe it'll be the push that I need. And in the meantime, if you want to see more bookish content, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all of the support and I do post 2 times a week. So there is plenty of bookish content to go around. I'll see you in the next one, y'all.